Welcome to Old School Sundays. I'm your host, Odell. Let's get into some history. The snap comes fast, the pocket collapses even faster. Three defenders break through, but Randall Cunningham doesn't panic, he glides. A sidestep here, a spin there, and before anyone realizes it, with the flick of a wrist, 70 yards, touchdown. To most fans, that moment was magic. To the NFL, it was confusion because quarterbacks weren't supposed to move like that. They weren't supposed to turn broken plays into highlights or make defensive ends look helpless. Randall Cunningham didn't just play quarterback, he reinvented what the position could be. But before the leap over Bruce Smith, before the 91-yard punt, before the MVP chance, there was a kid at UNLV who turned doubt into dominance, and it was there the evolution of the quarterback truly began. Before the lights, before the sold out stadiums, there was a kid from Santa Barbara with a gift that couldn't be coached. Randall Cunningham didn't grow up chasing quarterback dreams, he grew up chasing greatness. His brother, Sam Bam Cunningham, had already blazed a path to the NFL, but Randall wasn't trying to follow anyone's footsteps, he was creating his own. At Santa Barbara High, Randall was the kind of athlete who made coaches rethink their playbooks. He could jump higher, run faster, and throw farther than anyone on the field. When he wasn't launching footballs, he was soaring over high jump bars and sprinting past track records. That rare mix of speed, balance, and power took him to UNLV, a school known more for its bright lights than its football legacy. But in 4 seasons, Cunningham turned UNLV into must see television. He threw for over 8,000 yards, rushed for nearly 1,000, and booted punts that traveled farther than most drives. By the time he graduated, he'd rewritten the school's record books, not as a quarterback, but as an athlete of the future. Scouts didn't know what to make of him. Some said he wasn't disciplined enough for the NFL. Others said his style was too unpredictable. But all Randall heard was opportunity. Because deep down, he knew the league had never seen anyone like him. And that was exactly why he was going to make them remember his name. And when the Philadelphia Eagles came calling, the NFL had no idea that the way football was played and the way quarterbacks were judged was about to change forever. When the 1985 NFL draft rolled around, most teams didn't know what to do with Randall Cunningham. He wasn't the traditional quarterback prototype. He was a 6'4" blur who could throw the ball 70 yards off 1 foot. Some saw risk. The Philadelphia Eagles saw revolution. Head coach Buddy Ryan wasn't afraid of chaos, he embraced it. He just built the fiercest defense in football, and now he wanted a quarterback who could break the rules on offense. When Cunningham stepped into that locker room, jaws dropped. He was raw, electric, unpredictable, and unstoppable when the play broke down. By 1988, Cunningham was the full time starter. The league had never seen anything like him. He dropped back, see the pocket collapse, and suddenly it was a highlight reel in motion. Linebackers grasping at air while he scrambled for 40 yards. Very next play, throwing an accurate 20-yard pass to his receiver right in the chest. Defenses designed to stop statues were suddenly facing a magician. And Philly fans loved every second of it. He wasn't just their quarterback, he was their show. In 1990, he threw for over 3,400 yards and ran for another 500, accounting for 35 total touchdowns. He was named to the Pro Bowl and finished second in MVP voting. Opponents called him the ultimate weapon because no one, not even his own teammates, knew what he might do next. But that kind of brilliance came with a price. Every play carried risk, every escape made him a target. And soon, the same fearless style that made him a legend would make him the most hit quarterback in football. But before the pain came the plays that would turn Randall Cunningham into myth. By the early 90s, Randall Cunningham had become appointment television. You didn't just watch him play, you waited for the impossible. Every Sunday felt like a mixtape of miracles. There was the night in Buffalo when Bruce Smith, a future Hall of Famer, came screaming off the edge. It should have been a sack, a drive killer. Instead, Randall slipped out of Smith's grasp, backpedaled, reset, and launched a 95-mile-per-hour strike 60 yards downfield. The crowd didn't cheer, they gasped. It wasn't football anymore, it was performance art. Then came the 91-yard punt. Yes, a punt. In 1989, deep in his own end zone, Cunningham's boot exploded off his foot and soared the length of the field. It was the longest punt in 13 years. That day, he proved he could beat you with his arm, his legs, or his foot. In 1990, he recorded 942 rushing yards, the most ever by a quarterback at that time, while throwing for 3,466 yards and 30 touchdowns. Defensive coordinators had no playbook for this. He was too quick for linebackers, too strong for corners, too accurate for safeties. Every snap was a guessing game, and Randall always had the answer. He turned broken plays into masterpieces and highlight reels into history. Broadcasters began calling him the ultimate weapon, and that title fit perfectly. But every escape came at a cost. The same hits he dodged were the ones that piled up. Behind the showmanship was a quarterback taking punishment that no body could withstand forever. And soon, the NFL's most unstoppable force would face something he couldn't outrun: the injuries, the benchings, and the quiet doubt that maybe, just maybe, the magic was running out. For years, Randall Cunningham had carried Philadelphia on his back. Every Sunday, he was asked to do the impossible: make plays no one else could make, win games no one else could win. But eventually, even legends run out of luck. In week one of the 1991 season, Randall took a hit that silenced Veterans Stadium: a torn ACL. The man who seemed untouchable was suddenly human. And just like that, the NFL's most exciting player was gone. The seasons that followed were cruel. The Eagles cycled through coaches, playbooks, and quarterbacks, while Cunningham, once the face of the franchise, faded quietly from spotlight. By 1995, he'd had enough. He retired, walking away from the game that had defined him. For most players, that's where the story ends. But Randall's story wasn't finished. 2 years later, at age 34, the Minnesota Vikings called. They needed a veteran backup. What they got was a resurrection. In 1998, with rookie Randy Moss and Chris Carter catching his deep balls, Cunningham unleashed one of the greatest comeback seasons ever: 3,704 yards, 34 touchdowns, and a 13-1 record. He wasn't just back, he was better than ever: calm, precise, deadly accurate. No longer the ultimate weapon, Randall Cunningham had evolved into a complete quarterback. But destiny can be cruel. In the NFC Championship, one kick short of the Super Bowl, the miracle season ended in heartbreak. Still, what Randall accomplished that year proved one thing: he wasn't just a moment in NFL history, he was a movement. And while he was rewriting his story in Minnesota, another man named Warren Moon was quietly doing the same out west. When the final whistle blew on Randall Cunningham's career, it wasn't just the end of an era, it was the beginning of one. The term dual threat quarterback didn't exist before Randall. He was the definition. Every rollout, every scramble, every broken play that turned into a touchdown rewrote what the position could be. Before him, quarterbacks stood tall. After him, they started to move. Cunningham's combination of arm strength, vision, and improvisation made football faster, more creative, and more unpredictable. He forced coaches to evolve and defenses to adapt. What once looked like chaos became the new standard. You can see him in the fluidity of Michael Vick, the power of Cam Newton, the instincts of Lamar Jackson, and the poise of Jalen Hurts. Each one carries a spark of what Randall ignited: the courage to play the game their own way. But Randall's legacy wasn't just in stats or highlights, it was in possibility. He proved that a quarterback could lead and entertain, that he could think and create, that he could rewrite the rules and still win. In the end, Randall Cunningham didn't just change how quarterbacks played, he changed what coaches dared to imagine. And while Randall was rewriting the playbook through innovation, another legend, Warren Moon, was rewriting it through precision. Two different styles, one shared mission: to redefine what greatness looked like under center. Their stories weren't meant to collide, but fate had other plans. By the time Randall Cunningham walked away from the game, football itself had changed. The position that once demanded stillness now required movement. The quarterback, once a statue, was now an artist painting touchdowns on the run. Randall didn't just play quarterback, he redefined it. His highlights weren't just entertainment, they were evolution. He showed the world that improvisation could be brilliance, that instincts could become strategy, and that sometimes the greatest plays are the ones you never draw up. But while Randall was crafting chaos into beauty, Another quarterback was crafting precision into power. Warren Moon didn't rely on instincts, he relied on mastery. If Randall was the blueprint for freedom, Moon was the standard for discipline. And when their paths finally crossed, it wasn't just a game, it was a collision between two different versions of greatness. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon with more football history.